those darker oranges and those darker reds.
Look back at the last hurricane to strike the Northeast 34 years ago this week, and what you should do if you get stuck in a rip current.
If you're too tired to swim, your only option is to float.
Plus, an ongoing bird count in Wisconsin.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
I'm Angela Brown. Hurricane Erin remains on course to bring massive waves and dangerous rip currents to the East Coast. Erin is a massive storm, as you will see from the images from space here this morning. It's a Category 2 hurricane with 100-mile-per-hour winds. While the eye will remain offshore, its effects will be felt from Florida to New England. Red flags are flying at many beaches, banning swimmers from entering the ocean. Over the past 2 days, dozens of swimmers were rescued from rip currents along North Carolina beaches. Water is already rushing towards seaside hotels and homes on the Outer Banks. Tropical storm watches and warnings are posted for North Carolina and Virginia coastlines and for the coastal waters up in New Jersey. And just hours ago, hurricane hunters took off from St. Croix, heading back into Erin's eye. Let's get right to meteorologist Justin Chambers and also Brian Vandegraff for the latest on the hurricane's path.
So this is where Hurricane Erin is right now. Currently a Category 2 storm, 100-mile-an-hour sustained winds. That's the 5 o'clock update. About 455 miles off the coast of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. So it's going to be brushing by the Carolinas, not quite in the Carolinas yet. And then it's going to be moving out to the north and to the east, making that turn. So it's going to stay in the Atlantic, but it's going to bring that dangerous rip current and that high surf as well. The good news is a big ridge of high pressure over the continental U.S., another ridge out in the Atlantic. That's going to help to steer Erin well away from the U.S. and keeping it away from Bermuda as well. It's amazing how this storm is setting up where it's not going to make landfall, but obviously the impacts are going to be felt along the beaches.
So listen, latest tropical alerts from Chincoteague down to Virginia Beach, and then we have tropical storm warnings there from the Virginia-North Carolina border all the way down to Beaufort, North Carolina, because that'll be the closest to the storm as it moves through.
North Carolina's Outer Banks should see tropical storm force winds arrive this afternoon. As you can see this morning, it's already very cloudy. The waves don't look too big, but that will soon change. We have 2 reports on preparations along the Carolina coast, starting with Elena Laster on Topsail Beach.
Please be aware of, potential flooded areas. We do have hot spots here in North Topsail Beach.
Hurricane Erin is about to make its strongest impact with the North Carolina coast.
We always say to have a plan in place. That's very important.
Alice Darren is the town manager for North Topsail Beach.
We share information daily. We monitor National Weather Service along with other agencies. We encourage others to do the same.
And she says they're as prepared as they can be for impact.
Staff has been monitoring this event very closely. We started pre-checks last week, which included just checking all of our equipment, generator checks, stuff of that nature.
But with swells reaching up to potentially 20 feet, their focus also turns toward preserving the dunes, which she says starts with monitoring current conditions.
Everything's been videoed and recorded, so we have a good picture of what pre-storm conditions are.
But most importantly, she says, is public safety.
Onslow County has also closed the county beach accesses, and they will be closed as well for the duration.
You know the saying, turn around, don't drown. Like she said, safety is the most important element with a storm like this, so make sure you're being careful both near the water and on the road.
Hurricane Erin making waves along the Grand Strand. Lieutenant Tad Rubin with the Myrtle Beach Fire Department Ocean Rescue says anytime a hurricane is approaching, they're extra vigilant. He says they expect the worst and hope for the best.
But being inside that break can be a little treacherous for people at times, so it's a high impact zone, so we want to think about like people being knocked over by waves, being taken down, and some of those spots can be a little shallow as well, so we want people to be careful.
When getting in the ocean, you may see an area in the water that looks calm, and that's what you need to watch out for the most.
You're going to see a lot of foam, less wave action there, and there is going to be a current pulling people out to the beach. So it is very attractive to the person that wants to be in a calmer area.
But that water plays havoc with you. You don't see what's going on underneath the surface. Respect the ocean and know how deep to go in and when to get out.
And when you come to hurricane forecast, you are probably used to seeing multicolored satellite images of that storm. But where do these colors actually come from and what do they mean? We have meteorologist Noah Hawk explaining all this to us.
We've been tracking Hurricane Erin for over a week now, and you've probably seen some pretty good images come from this storm, especially since this past weekend it became a Category 5 hurricane. But how exactly do we get those images? Well, it's going to be through the use of satellites. And if you've noticed any pictures with those white clouds in them, it was probably because it was from visible satellite technology, but it's going to have one major flaw. That has to rely on sunlight in order to capture those images. So how do we combat the problem of losing those images overnight? Well, we're going to use a different kind of satellite technology known as infrared, and this is going to take the temperature of the top of the cloud in order for it to work 24 hours a day. But what exactly do those colors mean? Well, let's break it down. As we head towards the edge of a hurricane, or otherwise known as the outer bands, you're going to notice those colors are going to be those lighter blues, those greens, and those yellows. And since that part of the storm is not nearly as intense, those clouds are not as tall. So the top of the cloud is going to be closer to the surface and in turn return a warmer temperature. But as we head towards the eye wall, which is the strongest part of a hurricane, those clouds are going to get very tall within the atmosphere. And as you go throughout the lowest layer of our atmosphere, which is where all weather occurs, you're going to see a decrease in temperature. So at the very top of those tall clouds, it's going to be very, very cold. And those are going to be marked by those darker oranges and those darker reds.
Hurricanes can be dangerous and deadly, but they also serve a crucial purpose in the Earth's climate system. Meteorologist Jeff Exline took to Instagram to explain.
Hurricane Erin already making an impact across the Carolinas. Look at Wrightsville Beach, over 50 water rescues from rip currents on Monday alone. Now, hurricanes do a lot of bad, but they do some good. The sole purpose of a hurricane is to transfer heat energy from the equatorial regions northward to the colder polar regions. And a lot of times what happens when you have a northward moving hurricane, the colder air from the poles will get dislodged and head southward. For that reason, it is going to be getting cooler, a little autumn appetizer for much of the Ohio Valley, the eastern part of the United States, and Midwest, beginning early next week.
Well, the last time a hurricane made landfall in the Northeast was back in 1991 when Bob struck New England and made landfall in Rhode Island on August 19th as a Category 2 storm. Remarkably, it was the only hurricane to make landfall in the contiguous United States that year. But the storm certainly packed a punch. It caused an estimated $1.5 billion in damages, which at the time made it one of the costliest hurricanes in U.S. history. Providence meteorologist Jason Doris looks at other tropical systems that impacted the Northeast.
As we can see, Irene making landfall as a tropical storm in 2011 in New Jersey. 2012 was Sandy, which was a hurricane until right before landfall, and then it lost too much of its tropical characteristics. It was a little bit more similar to a nor'easter than anything. And then Henri in 2021 making landfall in Westerly as a tropical storm. But right now, while things are quiet and we're really not expecting much, is the perfect time to kind of organize things and start to think about what you would do if a hurricane were to make landfall in the Northeast. And you can start by just preparing an emergency supply kit. Experts at URI are more concerned too about inland locations experiencing river flooding along with power outages in prolonged periods, so be prepared for that. Know your evacuation route. A lot more people are probably in an evacuation zone than they think, and also know where your nearest shelter is and how to get it in a couple different ways just in case your primary way is closed.
And coming up on the National Weather Desk, it's been over 4 months since a severe ice storm slammed northern Michigan. We'll look at how it's still impacting local hiking trails, and we'll tell you about the invasive insect threatening Texas cattle farms.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn. Let's get a look at the Northeast for your day on Wednesday. We are going to see some rain in southern New England, especially some heavy rain in some spots, especially down towards areas in Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania as well. That'll start to clear out as we head into the day on Thursday. Most of us will remain dry up towards the north. And as we take a look at the temperatures for today, it's going to be on the cool side. We are talking high temperatures running in the 60s for many areas, 70s to the south.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. Skies should clear out a bit as we move through the afternoon, and a few afternoon showers and thunderstorms could fire up ahead of this disturbance. And we're talking just a few as that system cruises by. Speaking of cruising by, Hurricane Erin expected to do the same, not making any major impacts except to the beaches with high waves and rip current risks. But for your afternoon, temperatures still have a chance to warm up a bit more, mid to upper 80s, and once again, even on Thursday.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs. We're looking at 92 in Nashville, Atlanta, 90 degrees, 90 in Charleston, Tampa at 94, Mobile at about 94. We're seeing plenty of sunshine over the southeast, relatively quiet, but we are tracking Hurricane Erin as we continue to see that move up, staying off the coast, but this cold front will continue to help push that storm away, though it's going to have some impact across the outer banks of the Carolinas with big surf, wave, and beach erosion.
You are watching the National Weather Desk. You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, it's been over 4 months since a severe ice storm slammed northern Michigan, and cleanup is still underway. One of the major hurdles is cleaning debris from local trail systems. Mary Jane Glenn has that story.
The damage from the recent storm has been so extensive that local volunteers with chainsaws are unable to handle the task of cleaning the trails. So we need forestry equipment and some professional help to complete this task.
This is Trail 71. In Emmett County, as you can see, you don't have to go very far to find the debris. While some of it can be easy to pick up, the trails need more than just helping hands to clear this off.
Then the small businesses in the area, restaurants, hotels, power sports dealership, people come from far and wide to take advantage of these beautiful trail systems we have here in Emmett County. And this season's been a bust because the trails are impassable.
Kristen Hesse owns Birdie's Tavern, which is less than half a mile away from Trail 71. With summer almost gone, she's worried about the winter.
We love our local people, but we also rely on the tourism industry and the winter tourism industry to keep us going. So not only does that include snowmobilers and side-by-sides and four-wheelers or whatever that may bring, cross-country skiers, downhill skiers, that's a huge part of our business plan and part of our revenue for the winter.
Access to the trails is obviously a very big portion of what our business is, with ATV, off-road motorcycles, and side-by-sides. We're basically crippled here in Emmett County, Sheboygan County, and the surrounding areas from the ice storm. So traffic has been slightly down.
And so Obashaw, Hesse, and Ledwidge are asking for help.
So we need help with cleanup. It's going to take more than just our local community, which has been fantastic. We've had our local clubs and a whole armament of people that just are trail enthusiasts coming and supporting the cause, but it's just not enough.
The fall bird migration is already getting underway in parts of northeast Wisconsin. Experts say chimney swifts gather in large flocks at dusk before swirling together and entering a chimney to roost for the night. Bird watchers in the state are tracking them. Eric Peterson has more.
Chimney swifts are starting to gather for roosting, and they're dropping in the chimney.
At the corner across from Green Bay's Aldo Leopold Community School, Sue Asher and Helen Mitchell are watching and listening for birds in their habitat.
This is a hot spot because it's an old chimney and they can go in there and roost at night.
Not far away at Dr. Rosa Minoka Hill School, Wisconsin Chimney Swift Working Group member Nancy Nabak says across the continent, the swift population is in decline.
The 2025 State of the Birds report came out, and the chimney swift has been elevated to a tipping point species, which means that 50% of its population has been lost in just the last 50 years. Wow. So we're monitoring so we can try to figure out where they are, where they're not, and how to figure out what are those drivers, why are we losing them, and what can we do right now for the conservation process to begin.
Nabak says people can help by leaving chimneys uncapped, and planting native gardens provides a food source for the insect-eating swifts. And with daylight fading, counting these birds may go quickly.
They're just kind of swooping back and forth. Some of them are dropping in, and some are making fake dives that don't really go in, but they'll circle around again and dive the next time. So it's fun watching them.
27 volunteers recorded 1,055 birds at 16 different locations. Sue Asher and Helen Mitchell tallied 348.
Something as small as a housefly could have major impacts on cattle farmers in Texas. It's called the New World screwworm, and its larvae feed off the tissue of cows. Copeland Welch spoke with officials about what's being done to fight this pest.
The screwworm is like something out of a horror movie. It's a flesh-eating maggot. I mean, I couldn't get any worse than that.
The last screwworm outbreak in the United States was in the 1970s. Back then, the Texas Department of Agriculture used sterile flies to eradicate the pest. Now, even though that fly hasn't migrated across the southern border yet, Sid Miller says it's already too close for comfort.
Got, several avenues that we're working on, not just depending on the sterile fly. We need 600 million a week of the sterile flies, and we only have 100. So it's going to take 3, probably 4 years to ramp up production facilities to get to that number. We can't wait 4 years. I mean, we have to stop this now while we've got it bottled up in a small geographical area, at least small compared to the southern United States.
This is why the TDA is taking what they say is a smarter, faster, and stronger approach.
We've got a fly bait that will kill 90% of the screwworms. We're developing that. We're working with another company that's developing an inoculation, kind of a vaccine that changes, puts an extra protein in the blood. So if the larvae, are laid in the blood and they get in that, start eating, well, it kills them. So those two, we've got a product called ivermectin. A lot of people know that from COVID. And it's very effective. It'll prevent or cure anybody or any animal that has it. Just give them some ivermectin, it knocks it right out.
Miller says these tools the TDA will use to fight screwworm aren't ready to be deployed yet, but it's a top priority because the fly could wreak havoc on the livestock industry.
In Rhode Island, the lack of rain recently has prompted a water ban in some towns outside of Providence, but it's not a ban on all water. Molly Levine reports.
Beachgoers at Scarborough State Beach met with this sign at the outdoor showers, alerting them they've been shut off.
It doesn't bother me that they shut them off. It's not like a diehard thing. Do you know what I mean?
The indoor showers are still running, but the outdoor water ban is in response to recent dry conditions and heavy consumer demand. Roger Wheeler, Salty Brine, and East Matunic State Beach outdoor showers are also dry.
I bring baby powder in the car, so that helps get the sand off.
Veolia, Rhode Island water system customers, Town of South Kingstown, South Shore, and Middle Bridge water system customers, and all water system customers in Narragansett are restricted from outdoor water usage. No outdoor showers or irrigation systems.
Over the weekend, we've seen a huge increase in the demand locally here,
and we had to take action.
Chris Jacobs is the operations manager at Veolia. He tells me they serve about 9,000 customers and wholesale to South Kingstown and Narragansett. He brought us to the Sherman Tower, which he says holds 1 million gallons of water.
We really depend on a nice, slow, steady rain to soak into the ground and recharge our aquifers. So heavy, quick rains really don't help us.
And our Storm Team 10 meteorologists say the last time Kingston got more than an inch or more of rain in a single day was back on May 22nd, contributing to that spike, but cutting it off at state beaches will help.
It can save thousands per day, yeah, if not hundreds of thousands of gallons. We have a finite, precious resource that we've got to be conscious of.
And time now for a short break, but first we take to the skies over Washington State's Discovery Park.
Well, a very good Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. A lot of sun across the plains today, but we're dealing with a lot of clouds across the east part of the Midwest and the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley. That'll be switching over to a little bit more sun later this week. Got a few sprinkles there in the northern plains tomorrow and a few rain showers trying to drift their way south and a couple of isolated thunderstorms across the mid to northern plains for Friday.
Well, a good Wednesday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Chris Suchan. Look at our forecast today across the region, starting off with 70s and 80s. We work our way through the afternoon. Just sort of a typically hot August day, but do note we also have the chance for a scattering of some showers or thunderstorms, Dallas, Shreveport, Houston area, New Orleans. And we roll into Thursday, front dropping south, behind it a little bit of cooling relief, 80s and 90s, rain chance toward the Gulf Coast.
Hey, good Wednesday morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Stella Sun. Mostly quiet weather across the West Coast. There will be extreme heat warnings triggered across portions of Arizona. There will be wildfire danger in parts of Utah with heat advisories in central and in eastern Montana. Monsoon moisture will continue to surge its way up towards New Mexico and in parts of the Rocky Mountain West, with highs reaching into the 90s from Denver through Albuquerque. Triple-digit temperatures in Vegas and Phoenix, 70s in San Francisco. That's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
As we've mentioned, Erin has greatly increased the risk of rip currents up and down the East Coast. Meteorologist Ed Russo has tips on what to do if you're ever caught in a rip current. He says staying calm is key to survival.
You need a simple plan of action. A rip current forms from large waves that break in the surf zone, and the return flow cuts a channel back out to sea. Think of it as a river running away from shore. If you're caught in one, you want to first flip onto your back and float. Emphasis on float. Float first. Floating conserves energy and helps you control your breathing, which prevents a full-blown panic. Once you're calm, figure out which way the current is pulling and swim perpendicular to it. Sometimes that means at an angle to shore, not always parallel. If you're still too tired, keep floating and signal for help. If you're too tired to swim, your only option is to float. The only other alternative is drowning. Once you start drowning, you will submerge completely within 60 seconds. Floating buys you time, and sometimes time is the only thing that saves you.
For all the latest weather news and video, be sure to follow us on social media. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.